Hey, 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 all my crafty friends. I am back with day 13 and getting excited. Almost halfway through this album. Just 2 more days until we get there. How amazing is that? I've been, shifting on and off there, but I'll get a couple pushes of good creativity and then, you know, fall off a little bit and then come back on. So, anyways, this day is one that we took our little guy on a Halloween stroll. So we did this back in 2020, I believe it is, and they do a Christmas one. So I figured, hey, let's go do the Halloween one. It was a good time, and I got decently cheap tickets because they are kind of expensive because it was supposed to rain this entire weekend. Like it's pretty much been doing all of October. But it didn't. And so we still got decently cheap tickets. We had something to do for a couple hours where my oldest went to a football game. And my youngest is definitely into just like Halloween decor and all that kind of stuff. So pretty fun. All right. So what I wanted to do with this was cut that ghost paper from the Allie Edwards kit to make a flip gate, probably is what you want to call it. I don't know. It's not a flip. I mean, it is a flip out, but I wanted it to open up to show the big picture pretty much. So I needed paper on the back side of it also, as you can see what I'm doing here. I did stop the camera, as you've seen, because I just wasn't finding a great paper. Went and printed this one off of that Halloween, what was Hardy from Echo Park. I went on and got the digitals of that, and printed this one out. And I figured before I cut it, it would probably be easier just to put the paper on the back side. I knew it was going to be a bit thicker. Allie's paper's already thick, but then to cut these edges twice, pretty much. And honestly, actually, at that point, like 3 times, because once I cut this apart, I was going to have to cut the top and the bottom. So I decided to back my paper pretty much with that spiderweb paper. I did make it a bit thicker, but honestly, my scissors went through it pretty easily, as you can see here. But I did want to kind of make, there we go. I didn't think you needed to sit through all that. I didn't need to cut around some ghosts to kind of make it, more, I don't know, eye-catching, pretty much. I didn't want to cut a straight line, obviously. So it turned out super good. The only part is I got super excited and we taped all that together and I needed to sandwich, of course, my flip outs every time, guys. I needed to sandwich my flip outs in between this paper and that paper, and you're going to see me tearing all this back apart again. I tell you, I'm right here. I'm like, oh God, here I go again. I've done it every time. So we're going to rip this paper apart. Oh, the joys of paperwork, right? It doesn't come out bad at all. Mainly because the two papers were stuck together and I had to stick them back together. So like if one ripped, it wasn't that serious, right? So you're just going to see me ripping this apart a little bit. Oh, I took a small break because I was frustrated at myself for doing this again. I mean, how many times have I done this in this project, right? And got myself a little candy corn snack. We are officially through that 4-pound bag, and my kid just asked for another 4-pound bag for his birthday. He was like, I want one all to myself. I'm like, I don't think you need 4 pounds, but we'll get him a few bags. All right. The inside middle part is going to be this large full-size picture of my son with, what is that, Jack the Skeleton from Nightmare Before Christmas. This was probably his favorite one. He caught him coming off of the display, so it didn't catch him off guard, pretty much, scaring other kids, so he kind of knew what to expect at this point. Going into this, we had the entire time been like, hey, do we want to try a haunted house this year? A pretty, vanilla one if we could find one. And he was like, yeah. And then, yeah, we went to this, and he went around every little zombie that would even come out. And this was like, I'm telling you, this was like a very, very kid friendly stroll. Pretty much is for kids. And I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking that we need to wait one more year. I'm like, I don't think that you're ready for a haunted house yet. I think he could have done, a very kid haunted house one, but I haven't been able to find much around here for that. So, like I said, I think we'll wait for one more year. We'll wait next year. He'll be 12, and then we might take him up. My 16-year-old doesn't even know if he could do a haunted house yet. Okay. So, again, now I'm tearing the bottom part of this. So, really, this is going to come together pretty easily. There wasn't much. The cutting, I think, was the most part about this. You're going to see that my title needed some fussy cutting because I don't have the dies, obviously. There's no dies to Stanley. But really, it's just putting it all together. But I loved how it turned out. It is definitely more on the complicated side, of course, instead of being on the simple side. These type of pages definitely get my brain start working for December daily, because this is the kind of pages that I definitely put together more often for December daily. And I think it just gets my juices flowing type thing. So everything comes together. Yay. Flip out works. We've added in just a little bit of room in between the flip outs so that everything lays straight. Now we need to figure out a number. My number was a little tough. And honestly, that 13 probably could have stayed right there. I knew it going in. I don't know. I could have probably kept that one. I don't know. It just didn't. I wanted it just a smidgen smaller, I guess. And obviously I've used a ton of 13s everywhere because I didn't have much of a supply. I don't know where all my 13s have went. So clearly I've used a lot of 13s in other projects for some reason. But I pretty much just come to the conclusion, because here I am, I'm going back and forth. I know I need to print out my pictures. I didn't know exactly what size they were going to be. You've seen me hold up one I had printed off before because I had some extra space on the paper. But I didn't go back and do all of my little pictures of like decor and a couple of pictures of us with like the Hocus Pocus witches and all that kind of stuff. Or sisters in about 2x2, I think is what it was. Yeah, it was 2x2. So you'll see that come in here in a minute, but I decided to work on the title here real quick, and Mr. Stanley comes in clutch, and you're going to see this is like, I'm telling you guys, this stamp is the perfect Halloween stamp ever. But we are using, I think I used Sunset by Close to My Heart ink. And I just let the stamp honestly do its job. So you're going to see here how this kind of comes together. I don't know what was taking me so darn long. I am just cleaning my stamps off on my like chamois. This is actually like, this isn't like the real stamp chamois. This is like one I got from like Target, I believe. And it's just like a car wash one that I've cut into several squares. Probably need to get a new one out because it's awful dirty. I think I actually just turned it over to the inside because the outside was getting horrifically dirty. But these letters, you guys, if you pay attention to the stamp set, there's like some letters have like 2 and 3 different variations of it, and they all just seamlessly fit together for you. The only one that I did have trouble with was the T in Stroll. You're going to see it. I wouldn't have if I would have planned just one step here. You're going to see I'm going to be like, I don't love how it goes down so far. I could have used one T that was a teeny bit smaller. But in the end, it works out and it looks amazing. So you'll see me do that. I mean, the hardest part is obviously I'm going to have to fussy cut this out. So I think fussy cutting the first page and then fussy cutting this title was probably the longest part of this whole spread. So not a hard spread, but definitely a spread that speaks or holds a lot of volume, or is a wow factor in this album for sure. All right. So I didn't try and get in all of the crevices of this fussy cut. Um, there was a point in time that I thought maybe I would take a black marker and like mark out all of that, but I left it. It's no big deal. I don't mind the way it looks, honestly. So, and then I was like, do I want to put it on the outside or the inside? And honestly, now that I looked at it, it looked pretty cool on the outside, but we put it on the inside. So I wasn't going to embellish this picture that much. Um, I do actually, as I'm sitting here, remember that I was going to put something on top of that Halloween stroll, and I didn't ever go back and do that. So I probably will go back and do that now, and jazz that up just a smidgen. But it's no big deal. Here are my pictures. So I just printed out 3 for each side. Most of them are 2 by 3, except for that longer one of us in like the Halloween lights. I did turn it black and white, unfortunately, even though it was a lot of lights, because our faces were like purple, and it just looked better in black and white. Whatever. It sucked because I liked the lights, but what can you do, right? But like I said, most of them are 2 by 2, except for that bigger one, which is 2 by, I think it was like 2 by 2.5, I think, or something like that. I don't know. And then I'm just going to put them around. And again, I don't know, like, I'm always like one to journal everything and write out everything. And this project, for some reason, I'm just not like making it a priority, I guess, to journal. I did leave a spot under, I think it's going to be under this family picture, that I was like, okay, when I go back and do a little bit of journaling in this album, I think I'll put it there. So, you know, I think I will go back and journal, but like while I'm creating, I'm really just trying, I think that's because maybe sometimes the journaling bogs me down a little bit. And then I just can't, once I stop to journal, like I can't get it, like the mojo back to go again. So I think that's probably what it is. And I feel like sometimes if I go back and I just journal for everything and print it all out and slap it all together, then I think that will work better. So I think that's what I'll do. I am looking more and more at that Halloween stroll. What do you guys think? Should I go back and with a black marker and black out that white paper? I kind of think I don't know. But then I think that maybe the Halloween won't stand out enough. I don't know. Anyways, I didn't mind the white around the letters so much. I think it's just like in between all of the letters. Anyways, again, let's use that stash. This sticker paper, which these things were so sticky when I got them. Ellie's Studio. That one said spectacular fun or something like that. I was trying to make sure that it wasn't super dimensional in here so that this would close. And because I really wasn't using anything to keep it closed. What will keep it closed for the most part is that poking the holes, hole punching it. You'll see here at the end how I snip them so that it can come open. But for the most part, that will keep it closed. So these orange ones definitely jump off this spider paper. I think the picture at the top was me and my little guy with the Hocus Pocus sisters. That little one was me and my husband and my little guy. There was like, they had like a cauldron, and she said that there was, children turning into frogs in there or something like that. There's a couple of good ones, so it was fun. All right. I wanted that 13 to jump off. I did end up stamping it with my Stanley. I couldn't find a 13, so I decided to stamp it, but I'm like, it's not like popping off for me. I don't know. It just wasn't doing it for me. So I'm like, okay, what about heat embossing it with some black embossing powder? And that way it will jump off the page a little bit more. It definitely worked. I should definitely have used my anti-static powder, like I forget all of the time. So here I am just cleaning it off. If you forget or you don't have an anti-static, you can just use a paintbrush. It comes off pretty easily, as you can see here. Sorry, whenever I heat emboss, I go off camera, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. I did bring it back on. Super quick and easy. It's hard to notice on camera that it made a difference, but in real life, it definitely did. Definitely made a bit of a difference. But now we have all that paper to punch through, so I had to bring out my Crop-A-Dile again. And the Crop-A-Dile hole is about half, because I'm going to try that 6-hole punch, and yeah, it's just like, yeah, no, that's not happening. Is like half the, the size of the regular hole punch. I don't know. So I had to go back a couple of times and like hole punch more bigger holes, and I wasn't exactly super happy with it, because then, it just looks a little wonky. But again, those holes will be where the rings are, and nobody's really noticing too much. So we are going to wrap it up. I think that's about it. Yeah, just punching these holes. I'm trying to keep some footage in here so that you can see it in my album and how I punch this out, but I could have probably edited this out, sorry guys. But I love how this one turned out. It's definitely one of my more favorite spreads of this album, and I feel like as I get closer and closer to Halloween, of course, and doing more Halloween-ish projects, that the projects will get better and better. And I used several things out of my stash. I used this paper. It won't be here next year. It's not like I'm going to use this anywhere else. There's the album. Album is coming together fantastically. See, it's like I'm having a little bit of a hard time, but it worked. And then you can still, let's see, I'm messing with it a little bit. Yeah, we're going to take that back out and punch bigger holes. So I just open it up and punch, because obviously the holes that are on top are already cut apart, so those shouldn't matter too much, but we re-punched these holes, and then it fits much better. There we go. And then we can open it up. There we go. Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you at the next one. If you made it this far, definitely put a ghost in the comments below. Talk to you soon.